On today's show, Anthony Davis is out to prove that he can lessen the sting of the Luka Doncic trade. Can he do it? Because he said, "You've got a superstar in me now." And the Mavs tank may be over as soon as it started. Today's Locked On Mavs.
You want to get some things like that.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave me alone.
Your team every day.
Gotta be born with a dog gut.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Joining me, as always, the post-game prodigy from the great Slightly Biased YouTube channel. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
They're making the play in, Nick. The Suns are just another level of sad.
The Suns are a level of sad. It doesn't make any sense what's going on over there. We watched it. But yeah, the Suns lose to the Grizzlies after they had a lead, like a big lead in the first quarter. Then the Mavs beat the Spurs when they were a 6.5 point underdog on the road. So I don't know. It's looking like the Suns, if they don't get their act together, and I don't know that they will.
Well, before we get started, can I read you
A prophecy or
the Suns schedule?
Oh no.
Because I don't think you guys realize what I'm saying. Oh, I know you're thinking, oh, the Mavs will lose enough games. Here's the Suns schedule.
Oh no.
They have a 5-game stretch here where if I'm them and I wanted to play in tournament, you probably have to win all 5. At Houston, Sacramento at home, LA on the road, no LeBron. Toronto and Chicago.
Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers. That's 5 games right there. You probably need to win all 5. If not, go forward 1. Then here's the stretch. Home versus Cleveland. Home versus Milwaukee. Home versus Boston. Road Timberwolves. Home Rockets. Road Bucks. Road Celtics.
Gosh.
Road Knicks. Home Warriors. Home Thunder. That is genuinely one of the craziest stretches I've seen to end a season.
We looked at that as a bad thing or like a good thing for the Mavericks. It was like, oh, the Suns schedule is really tough. So the Mavs, and now it's kind of a bad thing if you're a person that wants them to tank and wants them to get a better draft pick. So we'll get into that game. We'll get into where the Mavs stand in the standings. But I want to start here. Anthony Davis did a sit down with Raccoon Squad member, former co-host Dana Larson. I guess not former. She just got busy with Mavs stuff. But Dana Larson sat down on the Mavs YouTube channel and for Mavs TV. Did an interview with Anthony Davis over the weekend. We haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. And he sat down, he talked about a lot of things. It's kind of his first sit-down interview he's had since joining the Mavericks. And the big thing, the big quote that's going around right now that I saw people talking about was, quote, "I know the city was down because of the Luka thing. At the same time, I know who I am as a player, top 75 of all time. I just want to let the Dallas fans know that I'm here. I got you. I'm here now. I know you lost a superstar in Luka, but you gained a superstar in myself." My question for you slightly is, what would Anthony Davis have to do to get Mavs fans, maybe not to forget about the Luka trade, but for it to sting less than it does right now?
I was at the arena, outside the arena when the protests are happening.
Same.
We were there. The protests ended. The game started. People went in to go watch the game. Me and the friend that I was with, we went to the local bar out by the stadium, Hero. And you could sense the energy in there. It was very, it was carrying the energy from the protest into the bar. Fire Nico. Everyone was mad. All of that stuff. Game starts. First play of the game.
McMahon.
Tim McMahon's catching strays. Game starts. AD throws the lob to Gafford. There's kind of like
yeah.
That was cool.
Okay.
AD hits a step back 3. Everyone's like, oh, whoa. Hey, that was cool. Then he gets the put back dunk. He does the I'm here. Place was going insane. People are jumping up and down. People are hugging each other. I mean, you were in the arena.
The arena was on fire like a playoff game.
Right. I mean, this city it's a massive city. There's going to be Tim Cato did the yearly survey. There's going to be a good chunk of people who do not return. And I think a lot of that is some people are just like, I'm like this with other sports. Some people are just kind of, hey, I'm not like uber in love with basketball, but I like the Mavericks. And it's just like the moment this happened, it's just like, maybe I don't like basketball as much as I thought. Like, I'm just kind of done. Like, there's going to be a ton of people like that. Because I'm like that with I was like that with the Cowboys. where it reached a point where I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't like football anywhere near as much as I thought. And I don't watch or follow the sport anywhere near the level like I used to. But you're also going to have a ton of people who are just diehard fans, a ton of people who are big basketball fans who feel slighted right now, feel upset. Maybe it feels like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever root for this team again. Winning cures a lot of things. So what would have to happen? The Mavs will have to be good. They'll have to win games. That's it.
That's it.
That is it.
And I think this quote from Anthony Davis, and from everything I heard and what he said in this interview, it sounds like he's out to prove. And I guess him coming back from that injury early too proves that he wants to prove that he's a man on a mission right now, trying to prove to Mavs fans, prove to himself, prove to the team, hey, we can do something here. We can do something special. You heard Klay Thompson say this can be a championship team. What we have right here. I've seen them before. I know what one looks like. Kyrie had similar sentiments. Like, let's focus on the guys that we have now. We've got something here. And I know we're probably going to do this for another year, right? or 9 months or 12 months or whatever. But when they're healthy, I'm excited to see what this team looks like. And I think Anthony Davis's sentiments, I think are warranted. But I think if they do start winning, it'll at least lessen the sting of the trade, and at least give people something to cheer for. Because right now, it's just everything is just so magnified because of how bad the injuries have been and how shocking the trade was, how bad some people think the package that they got back was, and all that, and all the executives and rumors coming out. Man, they didn't talk to me. Wish they would have talked to me, kind of deal. It's just been a lot of that, and it's like everything wrong that could have happened after this deal that was already a bad one in a lot of Mavs fans' minds has happened. The words that were said about Luka going out the door, that even Quentin Grimes recently said, I didn't like how the Mavericks talked about Luka on the way out. Like, if Quentin Grimes is saying that, then every other player in the NBA is noticing that.
Yeah, and I mean, the Kyrie injury was really the one that was like
broke it,
the nail in the coffin, right? Because the reports come out yesterday or whenever it was, maybe even today that was. Stein says that, hey, AD's like going to reach a point where he's going to be able to play the season. Like that sounds like the surgery sounds completely off the table. Sitting out, like not being healthy enough to play the season sounds completely off the table. Now, whether or not he comes back, that remains to be seen, how the team wants to approach it. But I took that report to mean that, to me, that was like our first real feeling of clutch coming in and saying, hey, our guy's good. Our guy's going to be able to play. Now, if he doesn't play, just know that he could play. That feels like that first kind of string pulling happening there.
Yeah, he's not street clothes. He could play, guys. This is the franchise's choice, right? Like,
yes, that's kind of how I interpreted that report.
Yeah.
But it does sound like Lively and AD could come back, and we'd be feeling completely and totally differently about that if Kyrie were healthy. We'd be saying, all right, get us to the playing tournament. We feel like we match up well, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I mean, I like that AD said that. Like, that's what you want to hear. I mean, like him saying anything else other than that would be weird. Him being like, yeah, look, I don't know. I'm not as good as Luka, guys. Sorry. Like, it's never going to be the same.
Luka is great.
Yeah, Luka's incredible. I'm not that good. Like, nobody wants to hear him say that. So I think it was a fine interview, and yeah, I'm excited to see it next year. But this year, I don't know. I'm just so conflicted about where they should be at the rest of the season, to be honest with you.
I know. It's just like, you hear them coming. You saw a path. Like, we talked about it so much after the trade that there was a path where, all right, the Mavs, I thought the Mavs were going to be better than the Lakers this season and probably next season too, because I didn't think the Lakers had enough. Apparently they figured out a way to have enough, even though they lost to the Nets tonight, which is just insane. And then the Mavericks have just lost everything with injuries, and it just been a shell of themselves ever since the trade went down, basically. And so it's basically flipped what I expected.
Yeah.
With Anthony Davis, though, he also he mentioned getting back to my natural position, just something he mentioned again, which also makes me think that they're not going to trade a Gafford or a Lively this summer. I didn't think they were going to trade a Lively, but Gafford has been on the table, but that AD just wants to play that 5 so much. It's like, all right, well, they got to keep both those centers, man, because he is doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on that.
Yeah.
And he just brought up how, like, he said, he was asked about the defense, and he said, having Gafford, Lively, Naji, myself, PJ, we got some real dogs defensively. And I started thinking about that group, and you're like, man, like, you had Caleb Martin to that. You had like what Klay Thompson has been doing the last couple of games. This is going to be a good team when they're all together. I just wish we could see it ever.
Yeah, I mean, the way that he's talking, it sounds like he's talking about this year. Like, this doesn't sound like a next season thing. This sounds like I want to come back, and we're going to play, and we're going to try to make the playoffs and play in. It's important to remember the players don't want to tank. Like that's an organizational decision and that's a fan thing. Like nobody on the court's tanking. None of the players in the locker room feel like, yeah, we get healthy. Like AD comes back, we'll have a chance. Like if I'm Klay Thompson, I'm like, I'm balling out lately. Like, I play like this in the playoffs. We go. Naji Marshall's like, yeah, you see what I've been doing lately? I almost just dropped a 30-point triple-double. Like, I put the ball in my hands in a playoff series. We'll be good to go. So, it's interesting. I mean, one thing you have to remember is he basically begged the Lakers for a center, and they said, all right, see ya. You're out of here. We're not taking demands from you. We're trading you. The Mavs traded their 25-year-old superstar for him. I mean, he's like, if he wants to play center, if he doesn't want to play center, he's not going to play center here. If he wants the team to go out and get another center, they'll go out and get another center. Like, he's the guy now. So,
I mean, Luka was the guy, and they started taking away things from him too. So, I mean,
but they didn't like him. They like AD. They did not like Luka.
It's true. Nico has picked this guy, right? Like, and Kid worked with him in LA. He talked about that too, where he said it's great to be on the same page with Kid and all that. Last thing on the AD interview, there's a lot in here, but the last thing I wanted to bring up is that his prank show. Have you seen that he had this prank show, the Impractical Jokers?
I've only seen a clip with Mookie Betts.
Okay, he did one episode, right?
Yeah.
In the interview, he says it got picked up for 10 episodes for season 1. And anybody's on the table. Everybody's fair game. Oh, there could be Mavericks in it. He also mentioned Cowboys specifically could be in this. And I just thought that was very interesting.
I just don't think that'll be good, but all right. I'm hopeful that it'll be good. I will say that interview, because I had not thought about it until recently. And, people just started asking me like, hey, do you think like AD could ask out in the summer? And I was like, no. But then I've heard people who I respect greatly who are like, AD asking out in the summer. Like, that would be crazy. I'm like, oh, is that like a real concern?
It's just a fear.
Yeah, I think it is a fear. I haven't heard or seen a single thing from like AD's side that would make me think that he'd want out in the summer. Like, I think he's excited about this opportunity in like a weird way.
Right. No, absolutely. I think this is his chance to prove himself. And I think the whole point of bringing this up is that he said, you lost a superstar in Luka, but you gained a superstar in myself. He wants to prove to Mavericks fans that he's the one that's going to come and lessen this sting of this trade. He understands how bad it was for some Mavs fans, but hey, watch out. Let's see what we can do. Coming up, we're seeing what this hospital Mavs team can do because they beat the Spurs. They're probably going to make the play-in tournament now. How did the Mavs get this win? And more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavericks is brought to you by Skims. Skims underwear for men now. I knew that they did women's clothing and women's underwear and all the stuff. You've seen all the commercials and stuff with Kim Kardashian and all that. But when I realized they were starting to make underwear for men, I was intrigued. They sent me a pair and I'm wearing them right now. They're great.
Same.
They hug and cradle. You're wearing Skims too, Slightly?
Yeah, I got some Skims on.
Let's go. And I ordered some more too after I got the free pair because I love them so much. They hold their shape. They fit. They cradle. Don't they cradle? Just nice.
They cradle great.
They hold their form. And you can shop Skims Men's at skims.com/LockedOnNBA and Skims stores. They have physical stores you can go to as well. They have all kinds of men's stuff now. They also obviously have women's stuff too. So if you need gifts or anything like that, go check it out. And when you do it, let them know that we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Again, check it out. Skims.com/LockedOnNBA.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. We have a daily newsletter that goes out every day, straight to your inbox. Subscribe, lockedondaily.com. Check the QR code for different ways to follow the show as well. All right, Slightly, the Mavs get a win against the San Antonio Spurs, 133-129. This was a fun game.
Yeah.
Defense was not played very much. They played small for the most part. Bismack Biyombo started for the Spurs, but he only played 16 minutes. Then they played Mark Fallow's favorite player to say his name in the entire NBA, Sandro Mamukelashvili. Like, he loves saying that name. Mamu. And Dwight Powell played 20 minutes, but they played small pretty much the whole game. And you got another Klay Thompson game, 26 points. He's had 25 in 4 straight games now.
That's crazy. Wow. And that's without a point guard.
Yeah, just him balling.
Which is like kind of funny because that going into the season, that was one of our things was, we could be this cool like third option in a pinch, right? But you don't want him to do that. And now when the team absolutely needs it, he has stepped up and rose to the occasion in that way. That's kind of funny to think about. But yeah, I mean, Klay's playing well, and it is you get a glimpse of. I mean, we've seen it all year, but really the 3-point shooting, the variety of 3-point shooting that you get from him, the quick trigger, the rise ups. I love the transition pull up threes, which is just my favorite threes for him when he's running up the court and gets to spot up on the wing or something and take a three. And it's also been the self creation stuff. It's been. We've seen this not very often, but at times, he had a disgusting step back three in this game off of a on ball screen, which I feel like he's been pretty good in those reps this year. And when the Mavs had their bigs healthy, I thought he did well finding those guys and passing out of doubles and traps when defenders are like flying over the screens and hedging, so he doesn't get a three off. So yeah, I mean, Klay's been great, playing really hard, and I really do appreciate that. I'm rooting for them to lose games because I just think it's best for the situation moving forward. Rooting for the tank. Rooting for them to lose sounds harsh, but rooting for the tank. But I really appreciate Klay's. I'm getting choked up.
You're so emotional about Klay and about what he brings to this team. Think about what he sacrificed slightly. Like, I know that means a lot to you.
Man, as a competitor myself, when I see a guy go out there and lay it all on the line when he doesn't have to, it really means a lot.
It does. And to see him not hang his head and not get down, and the rest of the team too. I mean, we're a broken record about this team at this point, but we've said so many times they fight. They don't give up. They continue on. They continue to show that they want to play, that they want to win. They could have just rolled over in this game and in many other games. They've gotten blown out in a couple because they're just going to be out-talented by a couple of teams, but they fight. Klay Thompson, Naji Marshall, Kessler Edwards, Dante Exum, Dinwiddie, Caleb Martin out there, Dwight Powell out there, Max Christie. They're all fighting and showing that they are all NBA players. They all want to be here, be on the floor, and show something. And man, you just saw it in this game too. Just to fight back, they couldn't really defend. They couldn't really get stops, but they just kept going, and they got the right plays at the very end to make it happen. It was the Dinwiddie was awesome down the stretch too. He had a couple of great assists. He had a couple of great moments. He had a technical. And that one ref just didn't let him alone the whole rest of the game. Basically, it felt like you could hear him scream and one right into the mic. But right after that, he went on a little stretch, and I think he had 8 points in each quarter. I don't know what he finished in the fourth quarter, but he
in the fourth. But yeah,
also he ruined my
3 assists though.
You ruined my point. He ruined my point, Dinwiddie. But he just had it going and was consistent. I thought all game, making things happen. Finished with 28 points off the bench. And that ref woke up 5th game Dinwiddie.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about how there's going to be a moment in the tank where Spencer Dinwiddie's going to pop off for a game or two. Tonight was one of them. I mean, yeah, the team playing hard. I mean, that's just I sometimes I lose track of what gets said on here and what doesn't get said on here. But when we were talking about how many games could the Mavs lose if you're looking at the tank, the thing was, well, just the talent deficit that they're at and the injury deficit that they're at. They're going to lose games. Like, there's not going to have to be a forced tank, more likely than not. But unless they quit, they're going to run into some wins because they do play incredibly hard. And you're reaching this kind of stretch of the season where you're going to start going up against teams that have sort of started to mail it in a little tiny bit. I'm not saying the Spurs did that, but like, I don't know. Did you leave this game thinking, wow, De'Aaron Fox, star level player, like he came out to play tonight?
I thought De'Aaron Fox, wow, I forgot he was on the floor many times throughout this game.
And granted, he's hurt, and I think we're probably a week away from a season shutdown for him. So I do want to throw out that context. There's like a surgery that he needs, and I saw all Spurs fans think next week is like the week it gets shut down for him. So, but yeah, I mean, this team plays really hard.
I don't get what's the point.
I didn't understand it either, but Fox himself said when they go to LA next week, he's going to a doctor, and was basically like, that's it. So I don't know. I don't really get it either. Maybe
he doesn't want to spring for the flight. He's like, let me just take the team plane and let the company pay for the trip there.
Maybe the thing is the injury can't really get worse. So let me just play until I get this surgery.
I know it's true. And like even Brian Sutter has come on this show and talked about how, the injury can't get worse. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, of course the injury can always get worse. Like physically, couldn't you make it worse in a game?
Yeah. And especially if you're a team like the Spurs, it's like, I don't know.
Make it worse for what?
Wouldn't there be some benefit to just shutting it down? I don't know. Maybe they want him to get more acclimated with the team. I have no idea. But that's what I've heard from Spurs fans was that surgery is coming. So, yeah, I agree that there's a lot of moments throughout this game where I'm like, is Fox playing tonight? Oh, he is.
Well, and you had Harrison Barnes, our old friend, 29 points on 14 shots.
He was great.
Just wild. And and then you had Vassell, who was going off 14 points in the first quarter, finished with 24. Then you had Keldon Johnson, who was just a monster.
Great.
The Mavs could not keep him off of it felt like they couldn't keep him off the boards. I don't know if these stats are right. It doesn't look like these stats are right to me because he only had 5 rebounds. It felt like he was in the paint all the time making things happen.
But he got a few like 50-50 balls on rebounds that were tipped and loose balls and stuff like that. And it felt like, once he got inside, I felt like he was finishing and he was going to let you know about it. I thought he played it. I thought he played a great game, but I thought it was fun to watch. There's something about a Keldon Johnson sort of gets a bucket and one, and he's howling there's something about that where I'm like, all right, fair.
That's right. But the Mavs were able to get this win and were able to put together the right plays at the end of this game. It had a crazy Kessler Edwards block. You had a Dinwiddie great drop off to Kessler later, which was a huge moment. The Mavs went up 121 to 116. You had clutch free throws by some guys. You had clutch free throws by Klay, by Kessler, by Naji. Great stuff all the way down the stretch. Great fight for the Mavericks. Who stood out to us the most? Talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Wayfair. Wayfair, you know that it's been tough to cover the Mavs lately, to talk about this team every day. And so I've been self-medicating in some way. And so I needed some place to put all my self-medication juice everywhere. And I'm talking about alcohol. So I bought a drink cabinet from Wayfair recently, and I put it downstairs in my dining room area, and it's great. It fits perfect. It's exactly what I ordered, exactly how it came. The setup was easy, and that's what Wayfair is. The huge selection makes it easy to find the perfect piece, no matter your space or budget. From cozy furniture, stylish decor, to kitchen essentials and outdoor must-haves, Wayfair has it all at the prices that fit your budget and help you move on and cope. That's what it's helping me do. It's more than just furniture. I was surprised that they have storage solutions, patio decor, outside stuff. So it's not just inside your home, it's outside your home as well. Head over to wayfair.com. Find something that's just your style today. That's Wayfair, Wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Slightly.
I had no idea where the hell that ad was going.
Gotta keep you on your toes, man. That's my 4th time doing that ad today because I did both the squad shows and I did Locked On NBA, and now I'm doing this show.
So. Feel Better Juice. I was like, where are we headed here?
Feel Better Juice. Brought to you by Celsius. The Mavs get this win, and Kessler Edwards. We can't go any farther without talking about him. 22 points, 11 boards, 3 assists. It was said on this show a little while ago, I'm tired of Kessler Edwards, and I'm done with the Kessler Edwards experience. Quote Isaac Harris. And Kessler Edwards had this game specifically for Isaac to shut him up.
Yeah, he sort of embodies what's going on with the Mavs, right? Like this out of position.
Why? Because he's a bandage on his forehead.
Yes, he's literally stitched up because he got hit in the head by Dwight Powell, bleeding profusely. He's playing center, which never in a million years I don't think Kessler Edwards could have expected this.
In the G League, he would, which is what he looked like tonight, I thought.
Yeah, and you know what? He's played really hard, and he has a few moments every now and then where you're like, man, shout out to Kessler Edwards. People were asking me tonight, like, who would get guaranteed of the two-way guys, Brandon Williams, Kessler Edwards, or Kai Jones? I do think it'd be Kessler Edwards would be the guy because I think you talk yourself into him being just like someone who could be in your rotation, end of rotation, of course, but just someone who'd be in your rotation. I do think B-Will has proven himself to be somebody who could be an NBA player. It's just I think teams would see like Kessler Edwards, that sort of versatility and the fact that he's like a wing versus a smaller guard. I just think you see nights like tonight where 22 and 11 career highs in both stats, just plays incredibly hard. And the versatility, it's like the Mavs kind of accidentally stumbled onto this thing where their size can almost be an advantage to them. It's why you see when teams go small and stuff, and they can just switch everything defensively. And they have a bunch of athletes on the court. It can be kind of a nightmare for teams. And Kessler Edwards was incredible tonight. So props to him.
He was great. Your question about who would get a guaranteed contract depends on what your roster is. But if you're taking the exact same roster as this one into next season, I think I would keep Brandon Williams because they need another ball handler. They need another creator in some way because you're just so thin at that.
But would you think I feel like Brandon Williams' archetype might be easier to just find out in the wild versus a guy like Kessler Edwards.
I guess. Well, yeah. Kessler Edwards, he's a utility guy. He can play center for you, apparently. Small ball center.
Yeah.
He can play.
If Kessler Edwards is getting small ball center minutes next year, then it's just things are really bad.
I feel like we would have said that at the beginning of this season too. Like, hey, the Mavs signed Kessler Edwards to a two-way spot. Yeah, if he's getting big minutes, I mean, we're in a bad spot. Hey,
we probably did say that.
Here we are. Here we are at this point. The same way we said, if Moses Brown has an impact on this team, the Mavs are in a bad way.
And if you told me some of the lineups we got from now March, I'd be like, man, they already got 60 wins.
Yeah, it'd be like they were remember where the Warriors and Steph Curry didn't play in like 40 of 50 like fourth quarters.
Yeah, it's like, man, they're already 14 games up with the 1 seed.
It's like absolutely insane this season what the Mavs have gone through. So insane, in fact, the curse and the injury curse continues because referee Sean Wright, the crew chief, had to leave the game after the first quarter. Follow was talking about on the broadcast that he left with some kind of undisclosed injury or something, that they had to play with 2 refs the rest of the game.
Let's just hope our guys follow Wellskin, Harp. Let's hope they get out of this.
Anyone connected to the Mavs.
Yeah.
Dana.
A ball gets
Kid
knocked out of bounds, heads towards the commentators. I'm envisioning a scene like that. I'm just hoping our guys make it to the end of the season here in one piece.
Do you think it's about proximity to the court too? Like how close people sit to the court? The coaches may be next.
Just the aura of what's happened. I mean, I was courtside night 1. Something to think about.
The aura has only gone down from there.
That's true. They needed me to be the keeper of the aura the entire time.
I bet you could get some of those tickets on Game Time right now.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
For not too much. Wild that a referee was injured. Like what the Mavs have gone through.
It's kind of crazy that doesn't happen more often when you think about it. Just like a soft tissue injury or something. But
yeah, right. And but they stay out of the way. They do a good job at
they stay in shape too. Props to them.
Doing all that cardio
every night too. Because I mean, it's not like they're traveling to another game tomorrow night.
I was gonna make a joke about somebody on the Mavs doing cardio, but pretty much everybody produced in some way today.
Half the rotation scored 20.
Yeah.
4 out of the 8 players scored 20 points. I mean, that's pretty impressive right there.
Oh my gosh. Dwight Powell was even doing stuff out there. He had a nice putback. 9 points, 6 boards, 3 assists in 20 minutes. He did his work off the bench. I mean, the Mavs are just getting production from everywhere. You also Max Christie, we talked about him last game. You just want him to shoot. He didn't close the game, even though he started, which I found interesting. Dinwiddie had a better game, but he took 11 threes. He kept shooting.
Yeah, I mean, not even a fourth quarter minute. So the Christie,
he didn't play at all in the fourth quarter.
No, the Christie dream has taken a hit here recently, but he at least did get some shots up. So he reached 1,000 career points.
Wow.
Tonight. So 29,000 away. 30,000. We'll get there.
He's really 39,000 away from his guy LeBron.
True.
And I guess now they're counting the 50,000 from LeBron if you count this playoff and all.
I'm cool with them counting that because I saw a stat that was one of the more unbelievable stats I've ever seen. Was that LeBron James became the all-time playoff leader in points scored. Do you know when he did that?
Yeah, it was like early, right? Like in Miami.
8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
That man has played. He's played like 2 or 3 seasons in the playoffs, right?
Talk about a record that will not be broken. I cannot imagine that record being broken.
You got Bronny on his way.
True, that's true. Bronny and Bryce.
He's played 287 games in the playoffs.
That's just so insane, man.
That's 3.5 extra seasons of play.
You hope the NBA lasts forever, so just law of averages, someone will do it, but that longevity. I don't know how we get into talking about LeBron.
Because Isaac's not here, and Isaac would shut it down as soon as it started.
True.
Yeah. Naji Marshall, 23 points. Another great game for him, and he had some closing minutes too, where he was getting it done, getting some buckets. Everybody produced, man. They're all having to play big minutes. Najee played 39 again. This is the second night of a back-to-back for all these guys. I was a little nervous about those guys playing big minutes, but they all stepped up.
Caleb Martin, they said 15-minute limit for him. He played 20.
Yeah,
played 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, and I thought was really good defensively. Again, had pretty much forced the game sealing steal there at the end on just a really, really nice defensive play. They're trying to get the ball to De'Aaron Fox on a cut, and he just reaches out and pokes it away. So you see the vision with him. We'll see what the future holds for him.
We'll see what the future holds with anybody on the Dallas Mavericks. Whoever makes it to the end of this season on the Dallas Mavericks, because nobody is safe apparently from injury. We're gonna stay here, even if we get injured. We'll still do shows. We'll still continue.
I don't know about that.
What injury would take you out from doing
I don't have the heart of a champion. Vocal injury.
Disagree.
Vocal fry.
A vocal node. What do they call them?
I'm knocking on wood right now.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm just
knocking. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We'll have a post game. We'll have more episodes for you throughout this week, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.
Thanks for nothing, Phoenix.